Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jeff again, Wave Strength Performance. This is our second video in our coaching series. We're going to be sending out to you guys to help with some coaching cues and notes that are kind of embedded in programs that we may write you. Today what I want to talk about is the importance of breathing on mobility. We have a new client that I was working with the other day who's trying to capture some pretty significant movement change, and embedded in that person's program we have some things where we're getting them in very specific positions and we're asking them just to relax and breathe in those positions. Now this person, some of these drills were new, and so the question you get right away is, what am I supposed to be feeling and why does this help, why does it work? And so what I thought we'd do is kind of share this with our entire client body here about why this works. So I got our little guy here. This is going to be Alex today. He's not here, so this is going to be Alex. We're going to get him some movement gains here. And what I want to do quickly is just basically talk about the mechanics of breathing, the effect that it has on our entire body, and how we can kind of leverage those mechanics into movement and mobility gains. So the first thing I want you to understand, and this is pretty easy to feel, is that every time you take a breath in, your body changes shape to some extent to accommodate the change in airflow throughout the body, right? So you take a breath in, your torso inflates, you exhale, and the torso gets a little bit smaller. What I want you to understand, and we're basically going to go from the nose down here, is that as I take a breath in, I basically get 360 degrees worth of expansion around the rib cage. So all of the structures, the bones, and all the surrounding tissues are literally going to expand outward to accommodate the incoming air into the lungs. And so right away, if we want to make the tissues a little bit longer, we want them to load a little bit easier, we may be able to do that just with an inhalation. Now, it doesn't just affect the thorax. I need kind of the rest of my body to move as well. So again, when I take a breath in and the lungs fill, I need some other stuff that's a little bit lower down in this area here. This is where like my guts would be. I need some of that stuff to get out of the way. And so those things literally move down because of the activity of the diaphragm. Those things literally move down to get out of the way. And what's pretty cool is that even your pelvis knows how to change shape to accommodate that. It literally almost create a bowl to almost kind of catch the descending guts coming down. And so all that's a little bit gross, but that's basically the process that's happening here. Now I'm talking about this like it's large shape change, and in reality this happens very incrementally. These are small changes, but if we can leverage those small changes kind of day after day and drill by drill, we can get some major change in some of these drills that we're using. The other thing that's important to notice too is a lot of times we'll leverage gravity, the effects of gravity, to help us. And I know that sounds a little crazy, but gravity obviously is a force that's kind of acting on us all the time. And so what I can do is I can utilize that force with the positions that I get into to make it so that the person doesn't really have to do much work, but the nature of gravity, the position, and the nature of respiration, breathing, kind of gives us the outcomes that we're looking for. And so some positions you might think about when we get you inside lying, when we put you on your back in hook lying or like a supine position where the legs are straighter, and really when we resistance train too, something like a decline press, an inverted row, anything, a goblet squat, we're kind of constraining those positions to use this system to get the outcomes that we want. The last thing I want to touch on too is I get a question a lot of times, say, Jeff, what am I supposed to feel when I'm doing this? Or sometimes people will say, I don't feel anything. And the answer we'll say back is, that's good, you shouldn't feel anything. The point there is that if you are too stiff and rigid, if you're trying to create motion, what you're actually doing is stiffening and contracting the tissue, which actually is going to inhibit the motion that we may be trying to get. The visual I want you to have for that is if I have this ball here and your body is the ball, when we're trying to give you mobility improvements through a focus on respiration, we're basically trying to make the volume of this ball larger, okay, the entire volume. If you are trying to force your way into positions, like maybe it's a cross-connected position that you're trying to squeeze, in effect what you're doing is you're trying to squeeze one area of the body to try to inflate another. And this, again, long-term is probably going to inhibit the mobility gains that we might be trying to get from some of those drills. And so again, if you go through your program and you're looking at certain breathing mechanics that we give you or ways that we ask you to do it, this is basically the system that we're trying to leverage. And if you have any questions on that, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Again, email, direct message, text message to my or Alex's phone directly. We're happy to talk more about it. Thanks very much. See you next time.